What's up, everybody? Hang on. I'm trying to get there. Trying to get me on the stage. Oh, great. Googly moogly. There I am. Well, it's what happens when you're in a hurry and you're trying to eat your dinner real quick just before the live stream pops on. But most of it's eaten. In case I want to challenge myself tonight, I've got a bag of raisins here, and that challenge would be being able to sit for an hour and a half while talking to all of you because fiber. Weirdness. Anyway, me and my mouth. So, for tonight's topic on this lovely Thursday night live stream, we're going to be discussing kind of those Hasbro price increases. We'll be discussing sort of, I guess, pricing across the board for action figures. And then we're going to see what's everybody thinking right now when it comes to all that. It seems every time we get a little pickier, a little more discerning about what we're going to pick up, but I'm seeing things that I'm just curious about. So we'll get talking about that. For anybody in the replay crew, with Hasbro's price increases going on, are you going to change your collecting habits, or have you already gotten to the point where you're being really discerning about what you end up picking up? So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the chat for a little bit. Then I'm going to take care of 3 pieces of housekeeping. Not a huge deal. It should be entertaining. One of them's even going to be informative. And then we'll get to the topic. So let's start it up right now with Tommy. What's up, Tommy? Good to see you tonight, man. And of course, Sci-Fi. Greetings and toytations, everyone. In a future bit of movie news, James Gunn showed off a drawing by Jim Lee of Superman with a screwdriver in his hand, smiling next to Lex Luthor in his classic. I gotta scroll. Purple and green armor battle suit. Fun factoid, Luthor originally found and worked on his suit when he was on the planet Lexor. Really? I did not know that. The planet was named after him, and he was pronounced its ruler. Yay, Lex. He even had a wife and son. All of the inhabitants were humanoid-looking. During a battle with Superman, one of his blasts ricocheted off Superman's body and hit one of the energy pillars connected to... shoot. I hit the button again. Connected to the planet's core for reusable energy throughout the planet. It created an overload, and like Krypton, the planet started to explode. Lex flew to his palace balcony to grab the outreached hands of his wife and son when the planet fully exploded. Superman scanned the massive debris flying around, but saw no one and sadly flew off. Lex crawled out between a cluster of the debris, crying, swearing Superman would pay no matter what. Now, back to the drawing by Jim Lee. It was captioned Man of Tomorrow, due out in July of 2027. So will they be teaming up against a common threat such as Mongol, Phantom Zone criminals such as Zod or Brainiac? I'm intrigued and eagerly awaiting this. This looks more like a Superman-centric film than an Action Comics film where he teams up with other heroes. I do like the sounds of that. Hero groups like his most recent movie. In toy news, Hasbro is reportedly increasing their prices by about $3. This may really bite them in the cojones, to paraphrase Serpentor, our greatest enemy. Is not G.I. Joe, but your collective incompetence. Chris Cox is in charge of Hasbro, and he wants to be more digital. Man, we knew that. Last quarter earnings were very good for Hasbro, with 16% coming from Magic the Gathering. Yeah, that's why I think they're going to keep throwing money at stuff like that, not quite as much at stuff like action figures. And digital games, I believe Cox came from Microsoft. He did. And much like Hollywood, believes CGI digital beats practical FX toys. That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Nice. In other Hasbro news, Pythona will be available for purchase at the upcoming New York Comic Con and after the London Comic and Toy Show on Hasbro Pulse. Hasbro also showed off their offering for NYCC, a new version of the original Super Skrull. He comes with 3 different heads, 1 fire effects, and a semi-translucent stretching arm. He still has a waist cut. instead of a ball joint waist and torso twist. Still, he can be useful. I actually got Reed and Johnny MCU Marvel Legends, and they're surprisingly very good. I got them for a good price at Sarge and Red's. Nice Sci-Fi. Still gotta check that place out. Toys and Collectibles in Utica, Michigan. Great bunch of folks there who really love what they do. They also have a reward system and will hold items for you. So they've got, I saw them on the internet. Can I order from them when it comes to just like ordering and have them send some stuff to me, Sci-Fi? Let me know. Let's see. They also have a reward system. Storm Arena teased more Alpha Street Fighters. I know, man. It's crazy. Zangief, Kuma, Balrog, Cammy, and Mika. Not gonna lie, I'm buying them. Jada Toys Scooby-Doo Wave is available at Nerdzoic, and I'm guessing other retailers as well this Saturday. Ramen Toys is doing a live stream on their 2025 products. Expect news on their tanks and life-size mask helmet. Tuesday morning, Marvel Legends will have their live stream up, so check it out if you can. Here's what I want from Ramen Toys. I want Ace to tell me when the Musk is going to get shipped to me. That's the important thing. Well, that's the bi-weekly rundown for this week. Now, back to you, Dave. It's the Esteem Chat Group. Get on board on the Esteem Chat Group. Off we go. Get on board. Step inside. Going on a magic. Okay. It took me a minute. Right. Going on the other side where only rainbows hide. It's the Esteem Chat Group. Oh, it's the Esteem Chat Group. Off we go. You know what, Sci-Fi? I thought I had it, and then I kept going. I don't know what that reference is. Oh, no, I suck again. Bet you guys know what that reference is. News update. Disney Plus on September 24th will release their animated Marvel Zombie series. Reportedly, all eps will be releasing on the same day. This is rated M for mature with heavy graphic violence. Or if you're a boomer, Gen Xer, or millennium / Generation Y, millennial, it's all good old grindhouse gore. The IGN trailer has over 19.3 million views after about 3 days. Really? For anyone wondering who the, let's see, swordsman in white and black is, it's Blade, but it's Blade as the Fist of Khonshu. So combine Blade with Moon Knight. If you can slow down the video enough, you'll actually see Khonshu's face appear. On the sword, when Blade holds it up to the screen, it's the old dead guard of Avengers vs. Spider-Man and the new Avengers teams headed by Sam Wilson and Yelena Belova and a couple young Avengers thrown in because why not? It does look like it could be a blast. The art is by the same studio that did What If. The characters, for the most part, are voiced by their real-life counterparts, with the exception of Mahershala Ali. He will not be voicing Blade, as he's already apparently moved on from the entire project. Can we blame him? No, we cannot. And don't worry, Sci-Fi, even though that's Dallas and the Cybermen and the Master try to destroy your comments, I took care of the let's see. The last of the Time Lords is here. Good to see you, Anton. Alien Earth was really nasty this week. Has one of the best taglines in movies in space. No one can hear you scream, perhaps? Let's see, Jurassic Park had probably the other one. 65 million years in the making. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that tagline, actually. That's pretty good. Skew, what's up, man? Replay crew, screw the price raises. Let's see, batten down the hatches, keepers steady, keel haul stabby mates. It's a perfect storm wave on approach. Respect Bobby's guidance and don't go too crazy, Hasbro. Skew, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping in. If you are indeed the replay crew. Let's see, $30 Stormtroopers Black Series. Nope. Mofex, how you doing? Catch y'all later. Has to get some jokes in on this one. Can't wait. Had to. Take care of y'all. Nope, we're good with it, Skew. Thanks for stopping in, man. Paul, what's going on, dude? Thank you for stopping by. Spaded. One time, I farted an entire plum. I should know that one. Why don't I know that one? I know that one. My brain, it died a little bit. What's up, Pixelated? Good to see you this fine evening, sir. Let's see, there's a lot of news today. Yeah, there is. It's crazy. Anton, I will try to buy some action figures this year if I have to. I will try to get them at Comic-Con and try to make some deals. I don't keep them for myself unless it's Doctor Who oriented or something I want, but if I want to get it for the YMCA, which I talked about before, for Christmas, that's always cool. I'm thinking of, I used to do a Toys for Tots party where everybody showed up and the price of admission was like $5 for everybody so we could order pizza and a toy. And I did it for a few years in a row. And what happened was at first, people were buying like the dollar bin toys, you know, the stuff on super clearance. Well, like the third or fourth year, people were trying to outdo each other with how cool the toys were. So it was really, really a cool thing to see. And I'm thinking I might need to bring that back. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to do it just yet. But stay tuned in case anybody wants to. I think there's going to be a Toys for Tots party this year. At that point, Dave, the Black Series already lost me with articulation issues, sticking with classified and some essential Marvel Legends. Yep, I think, I already am not doing a lot of Hasbro, so we'll see, aside from Transformers, but I think with that, they're in a partnership with Takara Tomy, so I think they'll always do those, and Takara Tomy's killing it. Like, I think with their designs, and I think the Hasbro side's killing it too. They know what everybody's after. Yeah, I'm not worried about Transformers so much. If their prices go up, I'm not going to be too upset because I feel like the quality is there. But some figures, they're just not keeping up with what's out there, you know? Tragic. I got the pick of the year, Psylocke and Thanos Gamerverse. I also picked up Psylocke's Nemesis Spiral. I'm on the fence on opening. Really? Very nice, Tragic. Did you find them in the store? Or were you just online and they popped in somewhere? Skew, great Space Coaster, Dave. I'm out, replay crew. Fantastic. Bad nerd, that's from the Great Space Coaster. Okay, all right. You guys got me. I lose. I am a bad nerd. Last night's Alien Earth was way too good for TV. Pixelated. I might need to check that out. Everybody, I keep hearing things. Moffat Stormtroopers are still about 3 times the cost of Hasbro. Either way, it feels like overpaying for a Stormtrooper. See, Jada Frosty the Snowman pre-orders tomorrow. Really? Yeah, I might need to jump on that. That'll be fun. All right, guys, let's go into some of that housekeeping I was talking about. I have 3 bits of it. The first one, I want to make sure and thank Marcus Plato on X. So I put out a tweet, I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago, and I said, all right, folks, does anybody have this gun for the Praetorian? Because I went and broke one. And the reason I broke it, just so everybody knows, is I had put a blast effect in the end of it, and I was transporting them just in a plastic bag, bringing them to my office, and it bent that, like that plastic part, that blast effect bent enough in there where it actually snapped this off. So the point is, don't have your figures displayed with the blast effects in them because that port or that whole nub will snap off. But again, Marcus Plato sent this to me from X. He lives in Australia, and I put on there, hey, if anybody has it, I'll pay for it. Just let me know. And he didn't charge me a dime. So just a massive thanks to the man. That was very cool. And now my Praetorians are all complete. So I'm crazy stoked about that. The other 2, it's nothing too nuts here. I wanted to be sure and let anyone who's a patron on the Toypixx Patreon know that voting is now commencing for last month's, for August's team's photos. And so these are the photos, the 3 of them that got submitted. And what I did was, before, what would happen is people, I would put them up and say, all patrons are welcome to vote. And so people would obviously be recruiting their friends to come in so they would vote for their stuff. So instead, what I did is I put this up for the vote. And I said, okay, after I put these pictures up, then that's it. Anybody that joins after does not get to vote on these shots, but they can vote on the next ones. So that's what we've got here. And I'm a fan. I think the shots that we're taking this time, I like them all. And you guys know me. The rule is if you had fun shooting them, game on. That's all I need. So I wanted to make sure and show these. And I also wanted to make sure that you knew if you're a patron on the Toypixx Patreon, whether you're paid or free, you can vote on this month's Patreon photo contest. And then the last thing, here it is. So yesterday, I shot this picture of Optimus Prime, and I asked the question, how do you feel about Prime being the 13th Prime? That kind of being his origin. But the more I looked at this picture, admittedly, I was in a hurry. I had an unexpected visitor yesterday, so I didn't have the time I would usually have to take a picture. But this was going to be just a quick picture anyway, but I didn't light it well. I didn't pose it well. I didn't shoot it at a good angle. There's all kinds of problems with that. So I thought today, just for a little bit of fun, just to show you guys a little bit of this, that I would shoot another one with kind of the same idea. So this is the one that I shot today when I had a little bit more time. And I'm only showing this just to show that all I did was I just changed the pose. I changed the lighting. I did a little bit with Photoshop, a little bit of color adjustment, and I made sure that the Star Saber and the Matrix were lit a little differently. But I just wanted to show you, I mean, when I thought about this picture, I kind of got annoyed actually. So that's why today you basically just got this bonus picture. So if you're on the Toypixx Patreon, you can go there right now. You can download the Photoshop file so you can see what I did on this. Or if you like the image, you can just download the high-res image. It is yours. Even if you're not a patron, you can go and do that. That's how I roll with Patreon. So I wanted to make sure you guys saw all that. And now, let's see how the chat's going. Let's go. Mezco, The Dark Knight, Batman versus In Art. Only one can be the best in 1/12. Uncarded, I'm going to have to, I don't know. Chances are the Mezco one's going to have way more parts, but that In Art, the way people talk about that thing, I don't know that Mezco's got a shot. Brick, what's up? Come aboard. It's a great space coaster. Dang it. Everybody's got me beat. How you feeling, Brick? Are you feeling better tonight? Let's see. All uncarded. All hail the chat. Off we go for real this time. No worries, Stu, man. Have a great night. Anton, yeah, I know what you mean. Too good for TV, that eyeball creature. Let's see what he did to the engineer. Oh, man, I'm going to have to see this. A good friend got an extra one at Target for me. Nice, Tragic. Congrats, man. Let's see, uncarded In Art all day. See, I figured Spaded would jump in on that one. Anton, that's what I love about our fellow nerds. We are all willing to be polite and be generous. Absolutely, man. There's no reason for any kind of war in any kind of fandom. We say our piece, we say why we feel that way, and we don't get mad. We just go about our day. And may the blessing of 1,000 Time Lords be upon you. I'm not going to sweat the price hike since I've been a selective collector. I am going all in for Pythona. Nice, Tragic. Nice. What's up, Nolan? Good to see you tonight, man. Clank, hey, all price hikes may not affect me too much. I'm already limiting myself on what and when I buy. Smart. Feeling much better, thanks. Finally went back to work today, and I'm exhausted, but feeling healthy-ish again. Brick, that's great to hear, man. I don't like it when the people are sick. Makes me sad. Sci-Fi, the Batman by LPZZ Toys from Arkham City is king. I'm gonna have to check that out, aren't I? All right. So let's get to it, gang. Let's get to the subject of this fine evening. So here's the deal. As I'm looking at all this stuff, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, not necessarily with Hasbro as a business. We know they're going to raise prices. We know that they've got shareholders to answer to and all that stuff. My question is, and it seems to be something that people are kind of just not talking about when it comes to Hasbro. Now, first, real quick, I don't walk into Walmart all that much. So let me know, does Walmart have a lot of Classified and Marvel Legends and Black Series? I do go to Target quite a bit because it might as well be right next door to me. So I don't see hardly any Legends there. I almost never see any kind of Classified there. The Firefighter already looks like it's peg warming. And there's not a lot of Black Series either. So one thing that I wonder about when it comes to Hasbro is, has the MOQ changed? Like, are they producing these things in a much smaller quantity than they did over the pandemic, for instance? Only because I'm just not seeing them in Target. And so I would assume that right now, Target and Walmart would be their big buyers. So if I'm not seeing a lot in Target, does it follow? Like, let me know. Are you guys seeing a lot in Walmart? Because if you're not seeing a lot there either, then really the places that are getting Hasbro stuff are the online sites, which would mean a much smaller MOQ, which would make sense to that price hike, as well as what's going on with tariffs and keeping their shareholders happy and all that stuff. So just tell me what's up. I'm just curious about the rationale, like the reasons, the potential reasons for Hasbro making a $3 price hike here. Let's see. I tried a few toy runs at Walmart and rarely had any luck. Okay, thank you, Pixelated. Clank, I have not seen any Classified in my Walmarts and barely any in my Targets. Transformers and Marvel are still stocked pretty good. Okay, thank you, Clank. Let's see, Walmart, let's see, Skibbity Toilet, just now relinquishing that space back to Classified, finally. Oh dear, Skew. Thanks, guys. I knew the esteemed chat would recognize the Great Space Coaster. I'm going to need to get a Bad Nerd shirt just to wear for me. Like, nobody else deserves that. Only I deserve the Bad Nerd shirt. Anton, this is a bit off topic, sorry, but they're continuing that Saturday Night Live series, so I'm going to go over to that in a little bit of date. No worries, Anton. Enjoy. I'll need to find that at some point. Pixelated, it might not be Hasbro dictating figure quantity. It could be Target and Walmart asking for less outside of the holiday season. And that makes sense. I mean, that's kind of, so the way, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but from what I understand, Hasbro basically will go to places like Walmart and Target, and I'm assuming Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth and Amazon and all that, and say, okay, we want to make this figure, and those companies will pony up some of the cash to make it happen. So if they're not necessarily as willing to pony up some of the cash, then that would make sense that Hasbro would relinquish or at least lower the MOQ to their factory, which then the factory themselves would charge Hasbro more. So I'm just trying, I can't buy that. It has to make sense. Hasbro has to know that the action figure market is insane right now, and everyone's making insanely good figures. So I can't think that they're so far off that they're trying to just keep raising the prices to hose people. But maybe, it's really bad short-term thinking if that's what they're doing. So anyway, that's what I'm wondering about, is has Hasbro's MOQ changed? Anton, I noticed the stuff for collectors like you and is very expensive in Walmart and at Target. Okay, thank you, Anton. According to Gordon Gecko, greed is good. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Good point about potential change in the, let's see, being produced by Hasbro, but I do know as they raise prices, they get closer and closer to what more niche and higher end indies and imports cost. And that's what I'm wondering. So like, for instance, I'm here with this Praetorian that Valaverse makes. I love this figure. This thing's ridiculous. Now, when I got it, it was $30. What Hasbro now, this coming, like, is it the next wave that Valaverse is putting out? They're going to knock their prices down to 28, And it's going to come with a ton of accessories, just like this guy did, including a ton of extra hands, which we all know from a photography point of view, I especially dig, whereas Hasbro still isn't really doing that. So another question might be, and it seems I would be willing to bet the answer is no, but with an additional price hike, are they going to start including more paint and more accessories? Like I say, they have shown that they're kind of pulling away from those things, but they also tried to keep it at 25 for a while so they could pull away from those things. So do you guys think that they're going to start trying to add in a few more things so they can keep up with the import companies? Let's see, we got more and more choices. Really curious to see how this plays out. Yeah, same here. And well, I'll get to that in a sec. Target puts action figures on clearance very fast. I gotta think they're trying to avoid too much stock on the shelves. Even Ollie's can't move some of this stuff. Ugh, that's a shame. Nolan, yes, I can see them pricing themselves out of the market. And that's what I'm wondering. Like, I think that what Hasbro's got, this was what I was going to talk about a little earlier, their play is nostalgia. Like, they don't make, I mean, I'm looking right now at what I've got on my desk, and I've got this Cobra Commander, the retro one. I love the figure. I think they did a great job on him, but he doesn't come with the amount of stuff that this Praetorian comes with. Like, if it weren't for nostalgia, and again, aside from Transformers, if it weren't for nostalgia, I probably wouldn't pick up Hasbro products because almost everybody is making better figures, to me anyway, than what Hasbro is putting out. So that's where I'm kind of at. And so I'm just curious. That's why I'm wondering if you guys think they're going to start adding some paint and adding some hands and all that. Because if nostalgia is your only play, and things like Star Wars and Marvel aren't performing as well in the box office, which could mean the general public just doesn't think it's as good, or it could be the general public just doesn't care as much. But objectively, these lines or these licenses are not performing as well as they used to. So that's going to hit Hasbro as well. So there's just all kinds of things at play, I guess, is what I'm getting at. So I don't know. I mean, I would have to think Hasbro was also able to try and negotiate the prices down, but Disney's big. So yeah, I just don't know. There's too many unknowns. This is why when it comes to what the prices actually are, when people sit there and they say, well, this costs too much because of this, this, and this, I don't know. I don't have all the data. If I had all the data, I'd be willing to make that call, but I just don't. Anton, that's an awesome Optimus Prime picture. You should fix your Megatron right next to him, fighting it out. Yeah, I do. I do need to shoot that Megatron more. He's pretty incredible. And thank you, Anton. I appreciate that, man. It was a fun one to shoot. I think my action figures, I want them to pose easily, which is why the ball peg waist is so important to me. But for some reason with Transformers, because they have so much they have to do, I enjoy trying to find a pose that you wouldn't think these things could pull off. So I'm pretty happy with that one. See, they have never included more when they raise prices. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm curious about. Granted, people love Hasbro stuff because of the specific nostalgia and love for the IP they have. So it doesn't always mean they seek options. Very true. And I think that's Hasbro's only play right now is nostalgia. It would make sense for Hasbro to include more. The maximum line could have been a test. Yeah, I mean, the maximum line is just kind of, it seems a little lukewarm with the reception, though. I wonder how it's actually doing. Again, I don't have the numbers, but it seems you can keep getting this stuff. So it's not like it sold out instantly and was a massive success, you know? Hasbro is done if they raise prices when other companies are lowering. Vala's down to 27. He's looking to get to 25. And I have to say, I do think that objectively his figures are better quality. But that's the thing. There is no real, as much as I love this Praetorian, it is genuinely one of my favorite figures in my collection. As much as I love it, there's no nostalgia to it, you know? If I'm paying a premium, I'm going independent, better product. And yeah, I'm getting to that point where I mean, I only have 2 Mythic Legion still, but I love those figures. I've got several Action Force. So I have in my pile of loot another Crimson Shadow Infantry figure. I have let's see, 4 Praetorians. I have 1 Crimson Shadow already in the collection. I've got the Bone Collector too. I'm looking at some more. I think that the quality is there for Valid stuff. I think the quality is there for Mythic stuff. I think the quality is there for Monster Forces stuff. I don't necessarily see the quality there for Hasbro's action figure offerings. Again, they have the IPs, which is why people are buying them. Or another specific, or kind of something I thought about a while back, is not only do they have nostalgia for the characters, for instance, with Marvel Legends, but Marvel Legends itself, having been around since 2002, is a nostalgic line. Like people just see the Marvel Legends logo and they might think, oh crap, I got these 20 some years ago. I'm going to pick up another one, you know? So there's a couple things, at least when it comes to Marvel Legends, going for them. They stand to lose some customers for sure, Matthew, but truth be told, those of us aware, and willing to buy new IP are a relatively small portion of the market still. That's true. That's a good call as well. And what I'm wondering is with properties they currently have, with the IP they currently have, I mean, there's nothing for G.I. Joe out there as far as marketing. Star Wars and Marvel have not done near as well as they did a few years ago. So I'm just kind of wondering, are people not only going to move away from those action figures, but away from the IPs entirely, thus making it so people have a lot less nostalgia and care a lot less about the IPs that Hasbro has? I don't know, but these are things that I wonder about. Paul, thank you, sir. Always appreciated keeping the people in the chat. Good to see. Sci-Fi, Hasbro's play may be nostalgia, but Chris Cox's play is going digital while leasing the properties out to other companies for the physical stuff. You know, and maybe that's the best way. I mean, it's gonna suck if Hasbro ever goes completely digital. Like it's just not gonna be right. But on the other hand, Hasbro itself isn't making great figures. They're not making premium figures. Like they themselves are admitting that these are for adults. These are adult collectible action figures they're making. But if they look at it like that, they have to know everybody is doing better figures. So it might make sense for them to license out a lot more. They could license out entire lines. Like I would love to see what Valaverse or Monster Force or any of these guys could do with a G.I. Joe line, to be perfectly honest. But at the same time, by the way, that is not a shot at all at what Lenny does. I think Lenny is the perfect guy to be heading up G.I. Joe. I love his work. They just aren't able to keep up with what the other lines are doing as far as accessories are concerned. See, that's a testament to the company's style and quality when they can get customers with all new products, no nostalgia needed. Yep, for sure. Pixelated will still buy them for those collecting whole teams. There isn't a choice but to go to Hasbro. They're the only ones going deep enough in lines. And that's true as well. But how many people are there that are just going nuts trying to get whole teams, especially when Hasbro draws that process out for so long? So it's not that I'm saying you're wrong at all, Pixelated. There are those people, but just what percentage of the collectors are those people? And like after a while, you just stop collecting teams. I remember displaying model behavior. Dave, he was talking about how he was trying to save up the Thunderbolts and got rid of them and isn't even thinking about Thunderbolts figures simply because they took too long to make them. So he's like, by the time they made them all, then the old ones would be obsolete. And when would they get made again? So there's that faction too. Anton, okay, this is for everybody. What's your favorite Transformer movie or episode from the original show? Oh, man. Sorry. Now I'm thinking. That's a bad thing. Either, okay, I've got to go with one of the three-parters from the first season. I know it's not an episode, so it's kind of cheating. But either the More Than Meets the Eye three-parter or the Ultimate Doom three-parter, the one where Cybertron is being brought to Earth with Dr. Arkable. I think those two are awesome. I'd probably actually go with that one. I'd probably go with the Ultimate Doom. Anton, I'll go first. Probably Desertion of the Dinobots, Starscream's Brigade, Fire in the Ice. I'm betting you mean Fire in the Sky. That's the one was that the one with Jetfire, with Skyfire where he crashes into the Arctic at the end of the episode? Skew, that's it, Dave. Lease out accessory packs to those guys. You know what, Skew? I like that. Maybe that's it. Okay, here we go, Lenny, if you're listening. You keep making the figures because I think your figures are great. I'm totally down with your figures, but we need somebody out there to make hands for them. You know what? I wonder if anybody out there would just make hands for your G.I. Joe figures. On the other hand, how much would that really do? Like, if I'm a 3D printer, not that 3D printing is probably the right way to go right yet for something like that, and I tried making hands, how many of them would sell? Would it be worth it? I don't know. But I would love to see somebody just start making G.I. Joe classified hands out there. That's just me, though. But yeah, right now, I guess to sum up what I'm thinking, Hasbro's play is the nostalgia play. And when that nostalgia goes away, what do they have now? You know? Because again, if people are moving away from Marvel and Star Wars and the casual collector isn't picking up those figures, are collectors enough to sustain those lines when it looks to me, just based on what's going on around the country with how well things are stocked at Target and Walmart, it looks to me like there's a smaller MOQ and prices are going up. So does that mean it's gotten even smaller? I'm not sure, man. But I will say that as far as what my collecting habits are, I'm probably not going to get a lot of, already I don't get much classified. I don't buy anything that's Marvel Legends. I don't buy anything that's Black Series. So I'm safe there. Now, again, if they ever, and I say again, I brought this up several times, if they ever start adding ball peg waist, I'll pick up a Legends and see what I think. Except for the 2-pack, you make those things single releases, and then I'll see what I think. But at the same time, it's not like they're going to switch to that right away, you know? So I don't, yeah, I think my habits, I'm going to go a lot more indie. Definitely I have to go a lot more indie. It just, they're better figures. This Mezco, this Death Adder is an incredible figure if Tragic's still on here. The Jada figures, which I know you could argue those aren't indie, but I love what Jada's doing. Then we've got Action Force, Monster Force, Mythic Legions, and Mafex, which you guys know I loves me my Mafex, but man, you got to be selective with that Mafex because they're getting up there too. But that's gonna be where my habits are starting to really move toward. Pixelated. There also hasn't been a big Star Wars or full-on Avengers movie in a while. Those tend to create more demand. That's true. I'm curious about how The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to do. And what's the one with, oh man, why am I blanking on it? Ryan Gosling. Is that called Starfighter? Curious about that as well. See if that kind of brings people in a little more. Skyfire. Okay. Thanks, Anton. I appreciate it. Is it the Ultimate Doom? Help me out, Anton. Is that the episodes, the little 3-parter that I was thinking of when it comes to Cybertron coming into Earth's orbit? Was it called the Ultimate Doom, or am I way off? Tragic. Mezco rocks. I'd be happy if Hasbro gave them licenses to create more G.I. Joes and Hooded Coco. Man, I'd be pretty excited about that too. They've got a Monster Force figure that comes with a blue hooded head, but he doesn't obviously have the big Cobra symbol on it. But I've still kind of thought, I wonder how that would look on this retro Cobra Commander. I'm sorry, it's not Monster Force. It's I think it's Soldiers of Fortune is the line. Either way, it is still fresh monkey fiction. But yeah, any additional thoughts on all this? What's your collecting habit going to go to? I mean, we've already talked about how we've all become a little more discerning, but I'd like to know, are you still really in with the nostalgic pull of Marvel Legends and Star Wars and GI Joe? Again, I love the GI Joe line. I just need more hands from it. So I'm not dogging on them at all. But do you think with this price hike, you're going to start being even more selective? Just curious. Pixelated, don't get me wrong. I'll replace a Hasbro figure with a Mofex or Mezco whenever, pretty much whenever possible. I even broke down and bought 2 Mofex Stormtroopers. Nice, Pixelated. Ugh, I still need to pick up one of those things. Oh, man. Oh, man. I used to have a guideline where I was like, okay, no army builders that cost $100. And at the time, none of them had gone to $100. Now I'm looking at those Mofex Stormtroopers and going, okay, guidelines are there to make exceptions for, right? Mr. Madsen, the Carl Urban Mortal Kombat movie was moved from October to next May. Let's see, right before the Grogu movie. They have that much confidence in it. That's going to be nice. That's going to be nice. I can't wait to see. I mean, I don't know my Mortal Kombat too much, but we're going to have that Mortal Kombat movie. They're working on the Street Fighter movie that I think, when did I see that was supposed to come out? I can't remember. So we'll have those. We'll have Starfighter or Mando and Grogu. Just a whole lot of curiosity. I think I'm going to start buying more indies. They look interesting. I totally agree, Brick. And it's kind of your fault that I jumped in on Mythic Legions, and they do look more interesting. They're pretty incredible. But yeah, I think it's leaning that way, with the exception, like I said, of Mofex and Jada, and then the occasional GI Joe figure. Like Flint will be here this month, according to Amazon. That'll be fun. See, Brick, more than you already are. That's true. That's true. Nobody's quite in on the indies quite like Brick. Although I think with Hasbro doing this, a lot more of us are going to be joining him. I like the Transformers apps that introduced the female Autobots and Bruticus. Oh, that was a really cool episode. The one where Shockwave just sounds like this horrible guy. Female Autobots? Yeah, that was a really cool episode, actually. You learn more than you thought you would when it came to Alpha Trion and all that stuff. See, Street Fighter, October 2026. Ah, got it, Brick. Thank you. I knew I just saw it and I couldn't remember what it was. Anton, yes, The Ultimate Doom. And it was written by 3 different writers. One guy would stop and the other guy would pick up right where they left off. That's why it's a little wobbly. That's all right, man. That one, they had some really cool ideas in that one. I was being sarcastic. Most of what I buy is indie. You know what? I should have read that into it, Brick. That was my bad. That's like when Mr. Madsen said what he did. I'm thinking, duh, Brick buys all the indie. That first Alpha Trion episode was great. Yeah. Carl Urban goes all in on each role he plays. His Dr. McCoy was spot on. You know what? I didn't know my Star Trek very well. I still don't know my Star Trek very well, but I did watch that movie with Urban as Spock and Chris Pine as Kirk. I had fun watching it. Like, I thought it was a fun movie, but I get how the hardcores would just be a little ticked off that it branched off like it did. Pixelated Carl Urban, totally under the radar. He is. I still need to finish The Boys because Carl Urban was a huge highlight in that show. So I definitely want to check that out. Why do I still have Prime up here? I mean, I like the Prime picture. I think I did okay with this one as opposed to this one. But yeah, how about I close this out? Hang on. Let me log out here real quick. There we go. Facts. Yeah. Yeah, Urban's good stuff. I need to find more of the things. But yeah, I think for the most part we're kind of agreeing. I do wonder when it comes to these price hikes, are people do you guys think so? I will see people sitting there. So you read comments and whatever post you see, and people are there talking about how, oh, that's it, I'm out. And then people start dogpiling, saying, sure you are, and then this will release and you'll be back, and then you'll start going nuts again and all that stuff. But with a smaller, what I'm assuming is a smaller MOQ for Hasbro right now, I'm thinking people actually are getting out. So those people that are getting out, do you think they're getting out of figure collecting altogether? Do you think they're just getting out of these Hasbro lines? Or do you think maybe they're just getting out of the Hasbro lines and jumping into, say, the more indie lines out there? I want to get a good picture of what's going on for Toypixx, to be perfectly honest. That way I'll know how to move forward with that. Because I'll tell you right now, when it comes to my best performing videos for the channel, it tends to be G.I. Joe, Mafex, and when I really do a deep dive on Action Force stuff, people like the Action Force stuff quite a bit too. But I can see needing, I mean, when Beathir gets here, I'm going to have to talk about him and load up on some Mythic Legions videos and all that. By the way, after September 29th, I'll have way more time. Should be able to load up on videos. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Tomorrow, in fact, I just have to exercise. I have to take a picture for tomorrow night's prompt pick, post the Patreon, and then it's marketing time. It's figuring out a whole lot of stuff that I need to figure out because I want to set up a grand opening at Toypixx before the toy show, which is on November 1st. So, of course, everybody's invited, but that'd be a heck of a drive or flight for some of you. Anton, he was great as Judge Dredd. See, I still haven't seen Judge Dredd, but I should. I should watch some of this stuff. But who knows? We all know that I should watch many things, and I haven't. But I will take a swig of water. Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Matson, I've been out on Marvel Legends for a long time. Their price hikes are too much. G.I. Joe, I'm picking and choosing, but I'm loving my indie brands. I'd rather spend money with indies at this point. Indies are more creative and can change things up faster. That for sure is true. When you're run by a huge corporation, changing course gets dicey. I haven't anecdotally heard anyone say they're completely done collecting, but I have heard and seen many buy less than before. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. I kind of want to know. I'd love to see numbers, and I'd love to know just the state of the action figure industry overall. I know that the toy industry as a whole is somewhere around $200 billion and climbing because of collectors. But it might be collectors aren't necessarily loading up on action figures. They might be loading up on something else. Labubu's, anybody? A lot of Labubu people in this crowd. Calling Miss Cogsmith if she's out there. She asked me about shooting those, and I need to get back to her about it still. My Mezco Doc Nocturnal should finally be here tomorrow. Nice, Spaded One. Probably going to be the last fig I buy for a few weeks. Oh, that's insanity, Spaded One. How are you going to get your fix? Teach, preach. Having only seen the first Alien movie, watching Alien Earth would feel natural. As for the indies, collectors eventually need a new fix to stay excited. And I'm seeing that with the indies. And I'm also curious about, this is just me because I never got into anime. I'm wondering about some of that, getting into some of that, seeing what that's about. See, true pixelated on both counts. Anton, well, I think it's time for me to go. That's all right, Anton. Thanks for stopping in this fine evening, man. Go enjoy that SNL stuff. I loves me the SNL. Sci-fi, you gotta see how powerful Shockwave is when he, let's see, leapt into the air, transformed into a giant ray gun, and took everyone out in one blast. What's the? You said Shockwave, and instantly I'm thinking about. There was a Transformer that was shown. Was it the last Transformers live stream that they did, where they were showing one of the other primes, and I can't remember which one it is, but it's got a Shockwave head, and it's like silver and gold, but it seems to be those colors, has like 4 arms and some legs. It just looks insane. I love the look of that thing. So once you said that about Shockwave, my brain went right to that. Mr. Madsen, pixelated post as Alien Earth doesn't make sense in context with Alien and Aliens. It does not feel natural. Let's see. Oh, I'll have to. Who knows? Maybe I didn't pay attention. Just remember, buy more toys, have more fun, always be safe, and read more comics, read more books, and read more graphic novels. Anton, I'm going to be on it very soon, man. Thank you very much again for stopping by and all those words. Now, as far as be safe, I was leaving somewhere tonight, and one of the people told me to drive safe, and I simply looked at her and said, no. Wonder what she's thinking right now. Anywho, probably nothing about that, to be honest. Spaded, I've basically sworn off all the cheaper companies, but Jada makes collecting a lot more manageable. Only having 1 to 2, gotta have them a month. That I get that, Spaded one. That makes all the sense for not getting something for a few weeks. Pixelated, Mr. Madsen, it's been years since I last watched either Alien or Alien, so I look at from let's see, an aesthetic POV point of view. Aha. It's been, when did I haven't seen Aliens yet. Maybe I should see Aliens and then jump in on Alien Earth. That might make more sense. But yeah, anyway, you guys have my thoughts. Seems I probably have yours. What else has anybody seen or wants to chat about this fine evening? We've got 37 minutes if I quit this at 8:30, but if we can't come up with much, maybe I quit early. I do find the price hikes interesting, and I am curious, and I know we've talked about this a little bit, with Valaverse going down, with Hasbro now being the same price as Valaverse, or will be very soon, what's a line like Monster Force going to do? Are they going to see if they can lower the price, or are they just going to keep pumping out what they're pumping out? Personally, I'm good with them doing what they're doing. I like it a lot. So we'll see. I just, if Bobby Vala comes out with a lot more figures that I think are as cool as the Praetorian, he might get a lot more of my money than I've spent in the past. Spaded, and all this import stuff has me really wanting to go back and collect older Rumble Society stuff that's already here in the States. Yeah, for me, Mezco stuff will probably end up being, I know everybody keeps telling me about the $50 Destro, but I think for Mezco, I'll probably jump in a lot more on Rumble Society than anything else. The Terminal List, Dark Wolf is awesome. The Gentleman Season 2 is on the way. Wednesday has been good. Chris Hemsworth Limitless is back and a good show. I knew you guys, I think it was you that brought up the Terminal List Dark Wolf last time. So I might need to check that out too. I don't know, man. I got so much I gotta do. Oi. Otherwise, like right now, as far as being just a nerd in general, all I've really got, I know Star Wars, at least the prequels and the original trilogy, and the Mandalorian show. And then I know Marvel through the late 90s. I know DC through the late 90s. And I know Transformers pretty much. I know a little bit about every iteration of Transformers, and I know a little bit about every iteration of G.I. Joe. But outside of that, my nerd time is not very good. This is why I am a bad nerd. You have to get that Mezco Destro. Dang it! Why? Why do you do this? I'm really looking forward to the NPCs from Valaverse. Same here, Pixelated. Seeing how the part swap for mix and match seems so cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that. What's the line? Oh, wait, the NPCs are Monster Force, I think, right? Because Valaverses is called Extras. Yes, I think that's what's up. So we're getting NPCs from Monster Force, and we're getting, oh my gosh, extras from Valaverse. So this is why I think that we're living in the best timeline for action figures right now, is because for me, especially being into the toy photography thing, I'm getting all kinds of figures I can just load up the backgrounds with when you have the main action going on elsewhere. It's so cool. We're rewatching Buffy and Angel. Such good shows. Nice. I have not seen Buffy or Angel. Oh dear. I nerd myself out on the regular, don't I? Pixelated. I want that pirate line and the raft. I don't know. Have we seen pictures of the raft yet? Spaded, that Mezco Destro is almost as cheap as my ex-wife. Do it. Oh dear. Tragic Dave, a few friends and I got, let's see, on Discord and have a movie night. If you're ever down, we can do it on Toypixx Discord movie night for movies you've never seen and must watch. Conan and Aliens. Yeah, that might actually be a great idea, Tragic. I like that suggestion. Considering I need to get on the Discord more too. I'm glad you guys are keeping it moving. I'm most of the way through the 20-hour documentary on the movie Aliens. Holy crap. That's a pretty serious documentary. Did you guys see? I think it's the guy that did the toys that made us. He apparently has a interview with Marshall Lucas that is insane. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's crazy and I want to check it out. So if you guys have seen it, let me know, because I don't know if it's even out yet. I just heard about it. Tragic. Yeah, Dave, you do need to get that Mezco Destro and then go all in on Rumble Society. I don't know if I want to go all in on Rumble Society, although that gangster that showed up recently looked really cool. I saw the 3D prototype at Dallas Fort Worth this year. Nice. So how's it look? Is it pretty rad? Of the raft? Yeah. But is it? I guess if you need the raft, then it must look pretty good. What about the vehicle that he was doing for the Swarm? What's that called again? And is he gonna? I need him to re-release the Swarm. You know what he needs to do? Okay, obviously he can do what he wants, but what I would like him to do is to re-release the Swarm figures with the same articulation that they're giving the newer figures. Because I didn't get any Swarm, and I thought the Swarm looked really cool. Give me Swarms and give me Scarabs, and keep filling out the Crimson Shadows. Let's see, the Marshall Lucas interview is okay. It's more of a compilation. That sucks. I want to see it, though. I want to see it. Where is it? Is it, I'm sure if I just look it up, I can find it. But yeah, I'm curious about that. I want to know, I've heard things that when it comes to editing Star Wars, if it hadn't been for her, Star Wars would have been a disaster and would not have near the cult following it does today. The PowerCon Swarm is one of my favorites. Which one was the PowerCon one, Mr. Matson? I know there's the Swarm Tracer. Is the PowerCon... Oh, the PowerCon one. That was the Evil Horde, like the red and black, right? Like the one, because it was Motu, PowerCon is Motu themed. So they made him look like... They made him kind of get that Hordak look, right? Let's see, Marsha's 1/3 of the people who saved Star Wars in the edit. Okay. I wasn't sure, so who are the other two then? I'm assuming Lucas was in there a little bit. Correct, red, black, and gray. Sweet, thank you, sir, thank you. I wonder, he might not be available anymore because he's been out for a while. But I love the look of the yellow and the silver. I should have jumped in on the Swarm when it came out way back when. I just wasn't sure. I'm sure I was collecting other things at the time. But truly, this Praetorian has me wanting to really look at a lot of stuff from Valaverse. I still need to order a Colonel Siege, but I definitely want to order a Colonel Siege and possibly a Sidewinder. But we'll see. Atlas doesn't do much for me. Senshi doesn't do much for me. But I'm very curious to see what's going on in the future with these things. Marshall Lucas, Paul Hirsch, and Richard Chew. Okay. I have not heard of Paul Hirsch. Huh. Okay. That'll be interesting. I definitely need to look more into this. Yeah, I feel like it would have been nice. I'm not one of those that goes back like, okay, so when they talk about how the prequels are getting a lot more love lately, I'm not one that goes back and has any more love for the prequels than I did at the beginning, with the exception perhaps of Revenge of the Sith. That one, I kind of see that as being a lot better than it used to, or than I used to. But the only reason I got to where I was okay with the prequels was because of the Clone Wars animated series. And so now, okay, I'm a little better with the prequels, but it's because of that. It's not because those were good standalone movies to me. So it would have been nice if George had these people in the editing room or telling him things like, George, no, for the prequels. But I will always love the original trilogy. A lot of movies are really made in the editing. Maybe we give too much praise to directors when it's the editors and cinematographers doing the work. And that could be. That could very well be. I just know that I've heard, I mean, like, so we've got Mr. Manson firing off Chew and Hirsch. And I had always heard if it weren't for Marshall Lucas, Star Wars would not have been the juggernaut that it ended up being, you know? So, I mean, I wonder what other movies, now that we bring that up, now that you said that, I wonder what other ones would have been a disaster if the right people weren't sitting in the editing room. Bobby said he'll get back to the Swarm eventually. Right now, he's been focusing on the Praetorians and newer villains such as the Black and Devil's Grin, Pandora's Gang. The Locust is the Swarm vehicle. Thank you, Sci-Fi. I couldn't remember the name of it. I know I saw the gray model for it way back when he first showed it off. I thought it looked sweet. But if they come out with that, you know he's got to be bringing in some Swarm when he does it. See, it is a collaborative process. Very true. Very true. It's kind of like, this is going to sound possibly cheesy. It's kind of like if you haven't assembled the perfect football team for that year, your chances of making it to the Super Bowl aren't very good. But if you've assembled just a great team, you're going to do well. Whereas you could have, like, look at anybody that was watching football in the 80s. Dan Marino was objectively a phenomenal quarterback. But because he never had the right people around him, they never made it to the Super Bowl. It's kind of like that, I suppose. Pixelated. Oh, there's a Movies That Made Us on Netflix that's decent. Okay. Is that the Star Wars one, Pixelated? Is that one where they're talking to Marcia? Because I know I've seen the Movies That Made Us, or I've seen probably most of the episodes, but I'm wondering if there's another season or something that I didn't know about. Let's see, Marcia was a leading factor in the editing room and was the main person who would stand up to her husband at the time to make necessary changes. So I'm assuming they were divorced by the time the prequels came out. This is me not knowing things. I was the guy that I like the behind the scenes for how things were created. So like I like the Ralph McQuarrie paintings and things like that, and hearing about what they did for shooting the Millennium Falcon when they were messing with the backgrounds and the star fields and all that. I like hearing that stuff, but I very rarely ever hear about or care about the personal stuff in the background. I know. Most people aren't this way. Let's see, it's all about balance. George Lucas and his first wife and Walt and Roy Disney are great examples. That's true. That's very true. I wonder if, because you know Iger can't stay at Disney forever. I wonder if they would try and get something like Walt and Roy to put that together, like to come in and run the ship in the same way those two did. That could be interesting. But I'm not sure. So, okay, all you people that know about Action Force, has Bobby made any mention about continuing the comics? I know that when I've heard him talk about the comics, he said there's just, and I totally understand this doing my own thing as well. He said just devoting the time to get on that is such a pain in the butt because he's spending so much time with the factories and developing the figures and all that stuff. So no shade at all towards the good Mr. Vala when we're talking about this stuff. I'm just curious if they're going to try and continue that story, because I still need to pick up the original book so I can read a little more about what's going on in there. But it would be nice if he were able to really carry that on into the future. And maybe with Action Force doing seemingly as well as it is, he'll be able to just kind of hand off those things to other people if he wants to. I get how hard it is to hand stuff off to other people as well. For instance, I'm the one that takes all the prompt photos for Toypixx. Well, I'm the one that takes all the photos for Toypixx. So it would be difficult for me to bring in somebody else to take photos right now. It might not be so hard in the future, but right now I'd be like, ooh, this is the part I love. So who knows? Behind the scenes on the prequels are sad. It's a bunch of people who love the IP and worship George being told they're wrong when they bring him ideas. That hurts. That hurts. And again, I thought Revenge of the Sith was fine. Attack of the Clones was a train wreck. And I thought Liam Neeson, I think The Phantom Menace, honestly, and I know that I think most people would agree with me, Jar Jar he was just in there way too much, and the way he was kind of turned me off from The Phantom Menace, to be honest. If Jar Jar didn't have such a big part, I might have enjoyed The Phantom Menace a lot more. But I don't know. I know that I really dug the Clone Wars cartoon series, and he wasn't in there quite as much, which is a terrible thing to sit there and be like, woohoo, less Jar Jar. But I do enjoy that the guy that did Jar Jar's voice got to come in and be the Jedi that saved Grogu from Order 66, because that was like a redemption arc for him. What's his name? Was it Ahmed Best? Is that right? Okay. What do we have? Oh man, 8:08, guys. How about we do this fine evening? Why don't we go till 8:15 or so, and then we'll call it a night, and I'll see what we can come up with for Monday. One thing that I want to make sure that we're doing is I want to make sure that I'm keeping a lot of this focused more on photos. Like when I'm talking about Hasbro, I'm not dogging the teams at all. I'm dogging the corporate decision makers and all that stuff. One of the things that I love about what Hasbro does with their G.I. Joe line, for the most part, is throw in a lot of great articulation and a lot of great accessories. If they just added some hands, I'd be a lot more stoked about them. But that's about it. So it's not that there's hate there, but when they do get extra hands, then I get to talk about the Hasbro figures. I get to take photos of the Hasbro figures, which people do tend to enjoy. And we get to talk more about the photography aspect of all this stuff. And to be perfectly honest, as much as I'm disappointed in a lot of what Hasbro stuff is right now, one of the things that it's helpful for are views. People love Hasbro to the point where if I just put on a Hasbro figure that I'm talking about in a video, people will watch. But I think we're getting to the point where people will watch when it comes to Action Force as well, and Mythic Legions and all this stuff. You just need a different angle on the whole deal. So I don't know. I don't ever want to lose sight of the fact that this channel is all about action figure photography, but it's tough to do an action figure photography live stream. I've tried multiple different angles, and it just doesn't get the love that other ones do. Pixelated, you could show some pictures that you think would have improved with better articulation, hands, and heads. Oh, man. I don't know about... You know what's interesting? Now that you say that, I'm thinking about the Maximum Hulk, the photo shoot, the marketing photos there. Shooting the Galaxy crushes it for Marvel Legends because he knows that the waist cuts are an eyesore. So you will look at his photos and you will almost never see the waist cut used. but there was one shot in Maximum Hulk that in one of those marketing images where he turned it just a little bit and you can see the flat spots on the Maximum Hulk. That picture would have been greatly improved with a ball peg waist for sure. I don't know that it would have been improved with extra hands or heads. He does a great job with what he's got. That's the one thing that when I watch or when I look at his photos that he tries to hide is how the waists are done when it comes to Marvel Legends. And he should. I mean, your job as a product photographer is to make the thing look as good as you can possibly make it. And implementing the waist cut does not do that even a little bit. So let's see, other pictures would have improved with better articulation, hands and heads. You know, I think that for the most part, what people do with their photos when they're posing up their figures, they seem to know, okay, this figure has a stoic head, so we're going to try some kind of stoic pose. They're not crazy. I think people tend to go with what's going on with the figure, like what they can do with the figure. The reason that extra heads and hands, I think, are so vital is because they add so many more options for figures. So, like the hand packs for Valaverse, for instance, I can do almost anything, any kind of expression, especially with the Crimson Shadow Infantry Trooper, because they've got a mask over their heads. All you can see is their eyes. You can make those hands do anything. You can do one of these. You can do one of these. He's even got it so you're not putting your, what do they call it? I should know this. Anyway, you're not actually holding the trigger while you're holding your gun and not prepping to fire it, you know? So there's just all kinds of different things you can do with all kinds of different hands. Same with heads. So I think that's what it is. It just gives you not only more options as far as accessories, but way more options as far as what you can do with photos. So if a figure comes with fists, you can have fists on the hips. You can have them punching, obviously. You can do like the punch in the air, yo-jo kind of thing. You can do all kinds of things with fists. You can do like thinker style. But when you've only got the two trigger fingers, all you can really do is kind of like this, or you hide the hands, or you've got the gun in their hands, you know, things like that. That's why hands are such a big deal. And facially, man, a lot of expression in faces. This is the way, man, because not only are hands crazy expressive, but obviously faces are. When either the accountants or the creatives have complete control, there's gonna be problems. Look at the first decade of Marvel films and then the last 7 years, big difference. And that's true sci-fi. There's always, you need a balance. And when that balance moves one way or the other, just a little bit, ugh, things get nasty pretty quick, as we've seen. Tragic. Are there any areas near you that you think you can take pictures of some figures outdoors to see the sunset and clouds? This is going to be the perfect time for outdoor photos in the Midwest. That's true. And there are a lot of areas. My concern, and this is terrible, I don't like having my figures outside long because I'm always afraid that I'm going to have them out too long in the sun. Not that Michigan gets a lot of sun this time of year. Once fall hits, I won't see the sun again until the summer, basically. Like there might be a couple days, but yeah, it's sadness is what it is. But yes, there are several spots around here that I could take those pictures. I think what I'm looking at right now is something that really is moved up priority wise on what I need for the studio is a monitor. Because I've taken some pictures with like that Optimus Prime picture I showed you guys. He's got a straight black background. If I had a monitor behind him, oh, that could have been such a cool shot. I mean, I'm happy with the shot with what I've got, but I think a monitor is going to make a huge difference. It's going to take what I'm able to do to the next level. And I can simulate the outdoor shots using the monitor a little bit. Example would be CoverGirl working on a vehicle outside. Yeah, that would be, I mean, if I've got it set up, if I can set it up in here and all that, like honestly, so I've talked about the Target that I have right next door. there's when I go out the back, when I'm on the parking lot or at the parking lot, I basically cross the parking lot, go down this grassy hill, and then walk right to Target. So that grassy hill, I could possibly set up CoverGirl on that, because with it being on a hill, I could shoot down, maybe not see much of the sky, or I could shoot up and see a bunch of the sky. Yeah, there is potential there, Tragic, especially with the clouds coming in. I mean, with how gray the sky is going to be, as you know, very soon. Alrighty, guys, we have 816, and we've beaten this one pretty much to death when it comes to tonight's main topic. So I'm going to let you go. I'm going to run out of here and see if I can figure out a really cool kinds of things to do for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be, I believe the word is fun. So thanks everyone for stopping by this fine evening. You know it's massively appreciated, because you could have done anything tonight, and instead you chose to hang out here with all of us. So I really appreciate that. Now, until next time, have fun. Happy snapping. See ya. This is where I hit end stream, but I got to do it twice, which is why it gets awkward. Now we're in the